and welcome to today's tutorial. So today we're going to go over the crow pose. It's kind of one of your foundational poses that you might be looking at if you're starting yoga and looking at your first kind of inversion, or perhaps just on a calisthenics journey. It's a really good one for just starting to work into that upper body strength and your wrists as well. So I hope you've had a good wrist warm up. I did link it beforehand to advise doing that first. So I'm going to show you the crow pose and then we're going to break it down after, okay? So it is a balancing pose. Clearly I'm better balancing with my head towards the ground rather than upright. So it is a balancing pose. It's one of the first ones, like I said, that people tend to work on. Some people don't like it because you are going to feel a little bit of a in your tricep, but it's okay. Also, a lot of people get that kind of fear of like, oh, my head's going to hit the floor. One, we're not that far, like off the floor. I know that doesn't help. But two, we can use cushions in front of us, and we can even use a yoga block initially to rest our head onto. So there are ways to adapt to get over the fear factor. If you're not quite strong enough yet to do it without the support of blocks, we can make that happen. So first things first, thinking about my positioning, I'm going to have kind of like a wide stance here, almost if you were going to do a yogi pose. Not quite as wide, our feet are more narrow, but that kind of like width of the knees here. I like to, so there's different positions as well with this. So some people like to get their knee right up into their armpit. Mine is resting kind of midpoint on my tricep, and I'm going to place that here. So I do this before I put my hands down, rather than have my hands down and then try to wedge my knee in. So I like to line myself up first. So I've put my positioning in, I've got my knees in the correct positioning, hands, and if you've not learned about my spider tip finger hands, that will also be linked below. Hands coming down to the ground. Hands are shoulder width apart, and then from here you can see I'm on the balls of my feet. I can just start rocking forward and back, just to start getting the feel of that weight being loaded into the front. So you have an idea, because obviously this is quite a new concept for you perhaps, trying to start to feel where the weight should be. So that rocking on the toes, forward and back, is going to help you figure that out. If that feels okay, next thing we're going to do is start trying to lift one foot. So hands, knees are pushed into the correct place for me. Hands are down to the floor. I'm going to tip, lift a foot, tap back down, lift the opposite, tap back down, and repeat those again until they feel a bit comfortable. After that, if you're thinking, okay, I'm ready, I can start that tip forward. What I want you to think about is your forehead pointing to the floor. So we're not going chin, we're not too rounded in, it's my forehead. So as I tip forward, it would be, if I had my block, forehead resting here. Lightly, okay? We're not putting our weight into this. Obviously, we don't want to compress the neck, we don't want to compress the spine. It's just a light resting spot, okay? It's not a weight dump. So again, into position, put my knees in, hands to the floor, and tip. So you can see, you're thinking about being like your third eye, okay? So very yoga kind of style, third eye. So if that feels comfortable and you want to start to do the tip, you can go for it. But then some people find they're stuck and they can't lift, because obviously we don't want to bounce into it. We don't want momentum. If we use momentum, that is going to be when you go over, land funny, and it's also not going to be comfortable. So this is where I'm going to use the block for my feet. If you're then concerned about head, make sure you have cushions, pillows, whatever you need to just help you with that kind of fear factor. So same thing, I'm going to have, but now I'm going to have my feet on a block. Hands, knees are going into position, hands are coming down, start to tip forward again, and now it should feel easier to lift because I've got that height. If you still don't feel like you've got the lift with one block, You can go for 2. I've had students start with 3 or 4 blocks, okay? It's wherever feels comfortable for you, because I would rather you be higher up and get initial lift rather than trying to kick into it or, you know, bounce into it, hop into it, because you're not then learning to use your muscles. The reason this helps is because your hips are up. So when we're trying to stack that balance, it's the hips coming up, which we're struggling to kind of pull up and over. This helps. We're higher. So 2 blocks, exactly the same way. I'm going to put my feet on the blocks. Knees are coming into position. Hands are coming to the floor. And now when I push and squeeze, I've got more help with my lift. And we're going to go 1 foot at a time still, okay? So we're not trying to go both feet together. So tip in, forward, and lift. And back down. Yeah? Once that starts to feel easier on whatever your block setting is, drop it back down until you can come to lifting from the floor. So, into position, feet are on the floor, knees are driving into my triceps, hands are on the floor with my magic spider fingers, thinking about third eye, squeezing, pushing the ground away, lifting those hips up, tipping, lifting, and holding. So you can see when your hips don't go high enough, it pulls you back down. And that's the fear for people, getting your hips up and over. So we'll pretend I meant to do that so you can see what happens when your hips don't go up. So knees, hands, tip, 1, 2, 3, and hold. And back down. So I hope you find those tips useful. Tag me below if you managed to narrow your crow pose after this. Let me know how it went. Let me know if there's any other tricks that you're struggling with and I can get a tutorial out for those. And if you are looking for a bit more structure with your programming, then drop into the Saloon Vault, which is below, 4-week programs to help you focus on those goals that you want to achieve and get them nailed. Good luck with practicing and don't forget to tag me with how it goes.